All right, let's go inside the pylon as we are joined in-house by our NFL insider, Hughes. He said, I don't want to go down to Miami this weekend. I want to come up, watch the game with you guys. So we appreciate that. Listen, kind of the Jets QB situation, a total mess. And going into next year, very uncertain. We all know the situation with Zach Wilson, but Mike White, who has flashed when he's been healthy, certainly. What do you look at this whole thing looking like going into next year? Is Mike White back, veteran quarterback coming in? How are they going to do this?
It's complicated, which it wouldn't be a New York Jets offseason or a season if it wasn't complicated with the quarterback position, right? Look, I know the Jets absolutely love Mike White. They do believe that he has starting potential, but you need to look at this from a big picture perspective. Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, both of these guys understand that if they do not make the playoffs in 2023, they will not be back in their jobs next year. That's just the cold hard truth, right? I mean, I know Rome wasn't built in a day, but the Jets are approaching a millennia in NFL year terms right now with this. So they need to position themselves with a quarterback that they believe can get them into the postseason and beyond. Mike White, they love him, but the durability concerns there are very, very real. So this offseason, the New York Jets are going to pursue a veteran quarterback. The two top guys that are going to be on everyone's radar and everyone talking about: Jimmy Garoppolo, familiar with the offense. The Jets love him. Derek Carr as well. Both of those guys are players the Jets feel they can win with. The one wild card that I would not rule out, if he is made available, because things are starting to get a little funky down there in Baltimore, is Lamar Jackson. If he is made available and the Ravens are willing to listen to offers, the Jets will do everything they can to position themselves to make a very, very, very compelling offer for Lamar Jackson. Now, the comparison I would make, man, is that when Deshaun Watson pre-allegations, right, the Jets were not in the discussions for Deshaun Watson. It was not, again, pre-allegations. That wasn't something they were interested in. And the reasoning for that was because the package of picks that the Jets would have needed to trade for Deshaun Watson, they needed to use those package of picks in order to make a roster where they could really use Deshaun Watson's talents. That's no longer the case. The Jets have a team right now that they believe is ready to compete. They are a quarterback away, and if a quarterback is available on the trade market like Lamar Jackson, and it's going to cost a lot, they will pay that pretty penny to get somebody like that.
All right, no matter what happens outside, I mean, maybe if they go ahead and they trade for Lamar Jackson, they sign Lamar Jackson, that's a little bit of a different story looking deep into the future. But this week, Jets coaching staff was pretty adamant that they still believe in Zach Wilson. We're going to develop the kid come hell or high water. I've been in this long enough to know that you don't always take at face value what is said in these press conferences. But where do they stand with Zach Wilson heading into year 3?
They like him. They do. I mean, they do genuinely like Zach Wilson. I mean, there is a reason why they drafted him 2nd overall. There's a reason why you invested that much in a player. But again, this goes back to two people, Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, understanding that they have their jobs on the line. They need the playoffs. And what we have seen from Zach Wilson to this point through 22 starts, it's just not enough to justify bringing him back as the unquestioned starting quarterback. Now, I could absolutely see Zach Wilson back on this roster next year, and a big reason for that is the mud that would be left on everyone's face if you trade a guy that was drafted 2nd overall for a 5th or a 6th round pick. So if that's the only return you're getting for Zach Wilson, well, you still believe in his talent. You still believe that there is some potential there. So why not keep him in the farm system, develop him for a little bit, and then see if he doesn't develop into the franchise quarterback you potentially want? Or maybe if the Jets find another option like Lamar Jackson, like Derek Carr, someone who would be here for several years, well, then maybe you flip Zach Wilson after a strong camp preseason, things like that, for something better than a 5th or 6th rounder. But look, I mean, there's no point in mincing words here. It's been a disastrous season for Zach Wilson. I know I was talking to a couple players, and the one thing that was said to me was that maybe things just were never right after that injury in Philadelphia, because when he came back from that injury and tried to get back on the field, we've heard upper half, lower calf disconnected. Obviously, the issues off the field, but on the field specifically is what we're talking about here. Things just were never right once he came back from that injury the first time, and who knows, maybe that played a little bit of a larger role. We're supposed to talk to Zach on Monday, which, we'll hopefully get some more information on that.
Well, he is Hughes, our NFL insider. He'll be back with us in postgame where more questions will be asked and hopefully answered, because it's not just about Zach Wilson. Some uncertainty with this coaching staff as well. We'll talk about those potential changes when we look forward to the rest of the offseason after this game today.